Welcome to Health Professional Radio. I'm your host, Neil Howard. Glad that you could join us on the program today. Our guest is Dr. Shankar Musunuri. He's a Ph.D. and MBA, the chairman of the board, CEO, and co-founder of Ocugen Incorporated, a clinical stage biopharmaceutical company that's focused on discovering, developing, and commercializing a pipeline of innovative therapies that address rare and underserved eye diseases. Welcome to the program, Doctor.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Neil.
Well, I understand that you're a seasoned biotech veteran. Give us a bit of your background.
Yeah, you're right. I've been in the industry for 25 years. I started my career in a biotech in San Diego called Amylin Pharmaceuticals, moved to the East Coast, then became, joined a biotech company, became part of Wyeth, became part of Pfizer. I had an opportunity to really work across the functional areas, starting in R&D to operations onto the business side. Then I became an entrepreneur. So I think I had experience in developing, launching, and managing life cycle of many biopharmaceuticals during those years.
Mm-hmm. So now you're involved in Ocugen as a co-founder, chairman of the board, CEO. Being focused on some specific therapies for rare and underserved eye diseases, what would you say is, I guess, the top two underserved eye conditions that you're focused on?
I think our lead products, one of them is targeting ocular graft versus host disease, and that's a significant unmet medical need. This is the disease when patients who go through donor cell bone marrow transplants, cancer patients, within 3 to 6 months after the bone marrow transplant, they get manifestations with the lungs, liver, gut, and eyes because it's an autoimmune disease. It's really debilitating. Currently, there are no approved therapies here in the U.S., elsewhere too. So it's an orphan disease. We are the first company to ever receive orphan drug designation from FDA for that. And the second one, the lead product, second leading product we have is for the dry eye disease. Once again, the dry eye is an underserved population. There are some therapies available which are approved and being used in U.S. and elsewhere. However, there are major issues with the existing products. One of them is the current products take a long time to show the effect. Based on the clinical results they have produced, their trials were about 3 months to look at the endpoints. That means you have to continue to take them for many months or many weeks to show improvement. Therefore, currently there are about 16 million patients diagnosed in U.S. About 30 million struggle from dry eye disease. Less than 1 million are getting treated. So patients are really looking for therapies which have a rapid onset, preferably non-steroidal, because steroidal products cannot be used for long term for safety reasons.
Do your products fall mainly in the prescription or the over-the-counter vein, or a little bit of both? Actually,
all our products are prescription products.
Okay.
We go through a new drug application path for our Ocular GVHD and dry eye products. Then the back of the eye programs we have on the retinal diseases as well as inherited retinal diseases. And they're going to go through a path called, it's a new product, still biological license application path in the U.S.
Do these two main conditions, do they occur later in life, earlier, or could it pop up at any time and develop in anyone, male or female, young or old?
That's a very good question. I think ocular GVHD, as I mentioned, it happens in the cancer patients, and irrespective of the age, when they go through donor cell bone marrow transplants, up to 60% of the patients can get the disease because of the attack of the donor cells on the host cell immune system. So again, if you look at the prevalence rates, up to 60%, then, by 2020, when we expect to launch this product, we expect there will be over 60,000 patients suffering from the disease in the U.S. alone. And the dry eye disease, it's a good question you asked. It's again, Many patients get it, and again, as you age, obviously, age has an effect. And again, I mean, maybe you'll see more dry eye conditions in women than male when they age. And also, with the digital lenses, environmental effects, seasonal, there are many factors which contribute to dry eye disease. That's why the prevalence rates are so high in U.S. as well as elsewhere. I mean, U.S. alone, as I mentioned before, 30 million patients actually believed to have dry eye disease, and 15 million actually diagnosed.
Is it more important the cause of the dry eye or the dry eye disease, or that it exists in the first place? Are there different levels of it? Can you treat it with an over-the-counter as opposed to a prescription, or is a prescription always the best to alleviate the problem?
Very good question. Yeah, I think the prescription obviously is the best way to treat dry eye disease. The over-the-counter products, as you know, some of them do some clinical trials, but they're not as rigorous as products going through a new drug application path, doing a controlled phase 3 clinical trials. And also, typically the over-the-counter drugs, if you look into the marketplace, it's not about just giving a relief when you put the drops in your eye. It's also working on those underlying conditions, and looking at the pathology of the disease. And for example, in the dry eye case, I mean, you do have patients suffering from dry eye. They got inflammation on the surface of the eye, and they also have discomfort, some level of pain, and you need to treat those conditions with the appropriate drug, with the appropriate mechanism of action, which work on those factors. And so I mean, if you take any over-the-counter medications, you may get a short-term relief. They may not be working on the actually underlying pathology of the disease to treat you better.
Now, you say you've got a release for 2020. When do you think you'll have FDA clearance for, say, Ocu300 for oGVHD? And the Ocu300,
that's right. Ocu300 for Ocular GVHD. It's going through phase 3 clinical trials. Mm-hmm. They're expecting top-line results from these trials by the end of next year, 2019. And when we do the NDA with FDA, typically the process, because being an orphan drug designation, we may be on the fast track. Therefore, we're expecting to launch the product in the second half of 2020. That means it will take, about 6 to 9 months for FDA after we do the NDA filing to get us the approval.
Well, where can our listeners go and learn more about Ocugen and some of the treatments that you're working on there?
Yeah. Some of the biological programs on the back of the eye, we do have the groundbreaking gene therapy platform technology we licensed from Shifen Science Institute at Harvard Medical School. This is a modifier gene therapy. This is based on nuclear hormone receptor genes. So these genes regulate many other genes in the retina that are responsible for development, metabolism, and functions. So the way this is distinct from traditional gene therapies, in traditional gene therapies, when you have a inherited retinal disease, you replace that gene with a functional gene, and you fix the disease. In this case, this is modifier, not only the direct mutations caused by these nuclear hormone receptor genes you can replace with a traditional AAV vector delivery. You can also actually target many other mutations because the nuclear hormone receptor genes like NR2E3, they can bring homeostasis to the retina, and they can control the disease progression, and in many cases it can even reverse the disease. So this is a difference. That means each of our targeted gene therapy products can go after multiple inherited retinal diseases compared to traditional gene therapy.
Well, where can our listeners go online and learn some more?
You can learn more on going to www.ocugen.com, our website.
Dr. Musunuri, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us here on the program today. And congratulations on your success and continued success there at Ocugen Incorporated. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me again. Appreciate it.
You've been listening to Health Professional Radio. I'm your host, Neil Howard. Transcripts and audio of this program are available at hpr.fm and healthprofessionalradio.com.au. You can also subscribe to this podcast on iTunes. Listen in and download at SoundCloud, and be sure and visit our affiliates page at hpr.fm and healthprofessionalradio.com.au.
Thank you for listening to Health Professional Radio. We're very proud to be an independent broadcaster providing our content free of charge to you, the listener. One of the ways that we're able to remain free and independent is by having people like you become patrons. You can support Health Professional Radio simply by visiting hpr.fm and clicking the button that says Become a Patron. Your patronage of even just $1 a month lets us know that you're there, which in turn makes us more valuable to advertisers. And, of course, if you're able to afford more, then we would certainly appreciate the support. My name is Toby Longhurst from Health Professional Radio. Please visit hpr.fm, click the Become a Patron button, and support us if you can.